Okay, so scenario is you have yourself a really nice custom-made knife. A problem I find myself with a lot. Okay, it's not a problem. I love it. But I don't really make sheaths very often, and, you know, when I do, it's usually because I'm giving it to somebody. Ironically enough, that's what I'm doing with this knife. So, I'm going to make a sheath for it. This is going to be a little different than most. Usually I use like a chunk of oak or something. You know, some metal pieces, kind of like a, I don't know, like a medieval video game type sheath. They're usually kind of bulky and not very great. But this is kind of a more elegant type knife, so I want something a little better. So I did a little research on how scabbards are usually made, and basically where I found the best wood that's available where I'm at is poplar, which it's labeled as a hardwood, but it's not nearly as hard as the oak or hickory that I use for basically everything else. So I got this piece. It's I think a 1/4 inch, which makes it a little bit thinner, but it's about the right size I need. And I'm going to start by tracing out my blade, which will be my middle insert, and then I'll take that piece and then trace out 2 more. That will be my 2 outside pieces. Design traced out, I'm going to stick a jigsaw here and cut it out. So after you get your main centerpiece cut out, you go on trace it on some other pieces of wood. It's just a scrap piece that came off. Go ahead to the other side on here, and then just go ahead and take your saw and cut it out. I'm not going to film that because it's the same thing I just filmed, only don't cut out the centerpiece. Okay, so once you have all your pieces cut out, you're going to want to basically have them all stacked up together with some nice wood glue. This is just some it's Gorilla brand wood glue, but it's not the foaming kind. I usually use that stuff, but oftentimes it'll get stuck on your blade and just kind of make a mess. So I think for this application, I think it's better. Although there are times when I used to make sword tangs similarly, although instead of having a separate piece, I just chisel it out. That stuff works really well because it fills in a lot of empty space. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some wood glue on one side of my centerpiece. Stick my knife blade, let's see if I can do this without cutting my hand. Put glue on the other side, put this down on top, and then clamp it. And remove my knife blade so that way it doesn't get glue on it. Plus it has oil and stuff on it, so I don't think it's going to react with the glue very well. Might, I also might need to sand down the, I'll do it later. Yeah, I can chisel that. Okay, yeah. So now that we have everything glued together, it's still a bit narrow for my blade, most just the end here, so I'm going to take my chisel and a file. This I think is more meant for wood, it's a little rougher, and try and open that up just a bit so that way the blade fits all the way in. Although you want to be careful because you don't want to take off too much, just because it's wood and you don't want it to crack. Okay, now that the blade fits in, I'm just going to take this Farrier's, there it is, this Farrier's rasp. I got these for knife making. I find they also work really well for woodworking. But I'm going to refine my shape, and then go to my belt sander, refine it a little bit more, and then just kind of hand sand everything smooth. Then, gonna see about covering this in leather to make it look really nice. Let's go. Okay, so now that we have our main wooden piece done, I've cut out this just chunk of scrap leather. I just got a bunch of scraps, really cheap. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this E6000 epoxy, more or less coat this, and then take some cord and wrap around it. I've never really done this before. Well, I've kind of done it, but in a little different way. So hopefully this actually works. And yeah, we'll just see how well it goes. And hopefully it doesn't look terrible. I'll then probably take some metal pieces and put over it as well, so if this doesn't work, hopefully I can kind of cover it up. That should be enough glue. Kind of want to center it. Stop. Stop it. Sorry, my cat's being an ass, but yeah. Okay, now that I have the leather glued on, kind of looks like crap on the back, not gonna lie. Again, still new to working with leather, so hopefully I'll get better with that in the future. Most because I want to do knife handles this way as well. But they're a lot smaller and, you know, I'll be that much, not all of that. But anyway, now I just need a way to mount it. And like ones I've done in the past that were just plain wood, I'm just gonna take a strip of steel and forge it to where it goes around the end here. And then I'll probably either glue it or pin it, or how maybe it'll just hold in place by friction if I make it tight enough. Which probably will. So, okay, I gotta chuck it in the forge it to where it fits and it has the ends here, and then I'll put like a ring on it, so that way I can actually attach it to like some leather straps onto a belt. And then I'll probably go down a little ways and do the same thing there as well. I don't quite know how I'm gonna do it because I'm used to swords which have a lot longer blade. So I'll probably have them a little closer up so that way I have a little more weight holding it down, so that way it doesn't, you know, fall forward. Wouldn't want that while walking around. Because yes, I do carry these while I walk around town. I'm that girl. You'd know that if you saw me walking around. Welding, as you can see there, it holds together. It's just kind of pressed fit, which I had to hammer this open just a little bit and then kind of put in a vise and clamp it back into place. So yeah, it's not going anywhere. Welding it, you can kind of smell the burning leather because, well, welding is very hot and leather kind of burns. Also, I noticed there's kind of a texture on it from where it's wrapped, so that kind of looks cool. But it's designed to basically be held on your left side, so that way that's, you know, kind of behind you. Yeah, kind of in place of a sword as opposed to like a sidearm, which this is kind of like a parrying dagger, but with a handle, it's more like a rapier handle, which, again, this is a build from... Okay, as of making this scabbard, I've not actually even completed the test that I put in the beginning of most of my blade videos for this knife. So, technically filming this, this knife hasn't even been released yet, but the video for the scabbard will probably be released like a couple of videos after this knife, because I make these like ahead of time, and I'm a little far ahead of schedule on account of just some smaller things and stuff I've been working on at the same time. So, yeah. I haven't quite decided if I'm going to dye this black yet, because it's like a really dark brown, and I think it kind of fits, so I might leave it. Of course, I also might say, screw it and dye it black, because black. Everything should be black. A lot of people say I should wear more color, but I don't. So anyway, yeah, hope you enjoyed, or
maybe learn how some of these scabbards are made. I don't know if this is 100% historically accurate, but I do know a lot of them are wood with leather covering. So, it's my interpretation of it, and it does actually wear pretty well. Still a bit warm, but balance-wise, it doesn't fall out. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed.